Good evening, Windsor. It is Wednesday, March 18th, 2020, and we are on day 3 of our Angie's video updates. And I think it will be quite a few days that we will be doing this, and we will get a little better every day. So, again, please bear with us. Please bear with my voice, but things are getting better, and hopefully I'll be back to normal here soon enough. But I just wanted to provide the residents another update as far as what is going on here today at the community and beyond. As I'm sure you have noticed and discussed with some of the staff, we made some pretty drastic changes again, starting as early as this morning. As I've mentioned in recent videos, I am spending a lot of time evaluating data and information, guidelines, recommendations from various health organizations, as well as Life Care Services. And between last night and this morning, there was some significant activity overall in the state of Florida, as well as locally. That led me to determine that we need to make some more drastic changes pretty quickly. So we are so sorry, specifically to the village residents, some of whom were in the dining room this morning getting ready to order their breakfast when some of the staff members came in and started with those changes right away. We thank you so much for your patience and your understanding, and hope as we move forward as much as we can to give as much notice as possible. But as we keep talking about, this is a very fluid and evolving situation and uncharted territory. So we're having to be very flexible and nimble. But I'm going to go through just some high-level updates in terms of the state of Florida. Over the last several days, not several, maybe even the last 5 days, we've seen some significant growth in the state in regards to COVID-19 activity. I think when we first started talking more formally, which would have been Saturday morning, we were in the neighborhood of, trying to recall, probably around 40 cases or so. Last night, early this morning, when I updated the team, the number in Florida was actually 216 cases, which was a significant growth. Well, when I checked back early this afternoon, the cases had actually grown to 314. So just 98 new positive cases in roughly a 12 to 16 hour period, which was significant. So we really are starting to see that level of transmission increase in velocity. However, that's also compounded by the fact that we are also seeing more testing being done, which is leading to a higher number of folks, I think, being diagnosed with COVID-19. In Osceola County specifically, as of my last check this afternoon, there were 9 cases. In Orange County, I believe there were 8. And then we had 1 case in Polk and 1 case in Lake County. There was also a case in Brevard, if my memory serves me. So we are starting again to see an uptake in activity, which is why we felt the need to move more quickly in implementing some more stringent restrictions within the community, specifically related to the modification of operations, food service, life enrichment, housekeeping, etc. So we're just going to go through the list of updates in terms of changes that we've made in the community. I started with what is one of the more controversial items, which is the suspension of salon services in both the club and the village side of the community. We just felt that there was a high risk of transmission in this interaction and didn't think it made sense to continue to have the salon staff coming into the community and potentially exposing residents to increased risk. So we have suspended those services as we move forward as a move of solidarity. I promised the residents that I would not get a haircut until they can get a haircut. So you're welcome. We might see me looking like a Yeti before this is out. From there, we've got housekeeping services. Now, again, in an effort to reduce the risk of transmission in the event that we have a case, we want to contain. So we don't want staff going into resident apartments one to one to one and potentially contaminating other apartments in the event we do have a case. So we are suspending in-home housekeeping at this time. Now, club residents can still take their trash to the trash room. First floor club residents can call housekeeping or the front desk as you have previously for pickup as needed. Whereas village residents will continue to have a daily trash removal by the nursing staff, as well as some support being provided by housekeeping staff. And the neighborhoods will continue to as well. We are going to use the housekeepers as well to really focus on frequent common area cleaning and high touch cleaning. While we are asking our residents to stay in the apartments, we are still having some traffic throughout the community for various necessary and appropriate reasons. So we are going to really focus on keeping those common areas as clean as possible. And again, reduce the risk of any transmission should we have any active infection issues within the community. Okay. All right. All group activities are currently suspended through the life enrichment programming, as well as anything through the food and beverage team. So unfortunately, happy hour tomorrow is not going to happen. Movies in the evening are not going to be held. We are working on some options to do some remote life enrichment opportunities. CC has put together some great options for craft kits, etc., that residents can ask for. Life enrichment will be residents in the club can contact the front desk if you'd like to have a kit, watercolors, crochet, or knitting, whereas CC and her team will be going door to door tomorrow, offering different craft kits, books, etc., to residents to enjoy. We will also be doing one-on-one visits with our high-risk club residents who we've identified. And if residents just are feeling a little lonely because you're spending more time alone than normal, please reach out to us. We will be also working on a proactive outreach calendar where we are reaching out to residents frequently throughout the week in the club. On the village side, we will be doing multiple visits to each door every day and scheduling some one-on-one interaction with staff, again, to continue to engage residents. But there will be a number of opportunities where staff will be coming to the resident's apartment, whether it's meal delivery, it's the snack cart or the hobby cart, as I guess we'll call it, as well as trash removal, et cetera. And then, of course, just the typical care interactions that employees have with residents in the community. So there'll still be a fair amount of human interaction, and we know that's so important and such a worry to some. But we will be really focused on that in the coming days and how we can continue to build activities and opportunities for even remote interaction into your day. Okay. In terms of club residents and medication delivery, those residents that utilize Publix, Walgreens, or CVS, we will still drop off and pick up for you. Any new orders or prescriptions will need to be dropped off by us or called into the pharmacy by 10 a.m. They will be picked up by 2 p.m. and delivered to you by a Windsor employee to your apartment. We are going to bring you a waiver to sign that lets the pharmacy know I'm giving permission to Windsor at Celebration to pick up my prescription. And we're asking that residents prepay for that. Most pharmacies are agreeable to that, letting you either pay through their website or over the phone. We are having some issues, though, if residents do need over-the-counter items, that they will not do those charges over the phone. That said, Turner Drugs will do that. They will actually allow you to put a credit card on file so you can do prescriptions, over-the-counter, snacks, whatever, and they will deliver it here to the community where we will then deliver it to your apartment. So if you want more information about Turner Drugs, please don't hesitate to reach out to the concierge or Linda or anybody for that matter, and we can help get you in contact with them. But that's a great service and that's a great small business that we certainly love to support. Okay. As we've talked about for the last several days, residents are highly encouraged, highly encouraged to stay in your apartments, only going out for medically necessary reasons. And that's going to continue to be critical because the more often residents are going out of the community, the more opportunity there is to bring things back into the community. So again, to the extent possible, please forego any unnecessary non-medical appointments until this event comes to a close, which will be sooner than later if we and the world are able to abide by these, tough restrictions. Let's see. If you are going in and out of the community, please remember to utilize your specific elevators, right? The club, the elevators are by the pool or by the business office. The village elevators are by the village lobby and the nurses' stations all the way up. So please be mindful of that. Additionally, the big news is going to be the modifications that we made to the food and beverage plan today. This morning, we started in the village delivering all meals to residents. Ashley McCarthy was so kind to go around and get orders for the residents for the rest of the day, while Chef Jorge and his team worked on creating a menu for the next several days that residents could choose from. We will be providing essentially 2 main options, and then for lunch and dinner, 2 proteins with a side starch and a vegetable, and of course a dessert and beverage. And this will be evolving and improving every day, but trying to give our residents choice and a nice hot meal and something to enjoy. So those meals will be delivered on a daily basis between the hours of, let's make sure I got this correct, 8 and 9:30 for breakfast for village residents, 11:30 to 1 for lunch, and 4:30 to 6. Today we had 1 team come around and it took a little longer than we thought. So we're going to be increasing to 3 teams, 1 per village floor, to make sure that experience is a little bit more timely. We want to make sure that all the food that does go up is hot and enjoyable and still attractive. And we're also going to be making sure that the proper condiments are there, etc. So, and of course, all dietary restrictions will be observed. And we hope that we can make this just as positive of an experience as possible. Neighborhood residents in memory care will largely be continuing with their routine dining experience, with the exception that we will be very formally implementing the social distancing within the dining room. Many of our residents in memory care do need supervision and observation while eating and otherwise. So we are having to make some accommodations in that plan to keep those residents safe from that type of isolation. Our residents in memory care need a lot of supervision, but also keep them at a reduced risk of acquiring the COVID-19 virus should it appear in our community. Finally, we have the club adjustments for food and beverage. Club residents will still be coming down to collect their meals, but they will be to go. Meal service will be available from 8 to 10, from 11:30 to 1, and 4:30 to 6:30. Residents will be able to select what they'd like to eat, which will be essentially 2 mains, the starch and the vegetable, dessert, similar to what we're providing in the villages, but they will come down and get that, and it will be boxed and taken upstairs. The Reserve Cafe will be open for coffee, to-go coffee service only, as well as some bakery items and snacks, which can be purchased and again taken up to the resident's apartment and eaten. The Sky Bar will be closed effective immediately. Okay, so those are going to be the main modifications to service put in place for club dining. Residents can get meals again in the Veranda restaurant, 8 to 10 for breakfast, 11:30 to 1 for lunch, and 4:30 to 6 for dinner. We are working again overall to publish a revised menu with the options 1 week in advance so residents can know what their options are for that day and decide if that's a day they'd like to have something at home or they'd like to come down to the veranda and grab something and go up. We are going to do our best to keep it interesting. We know that, during these times of quarantine, or even if you're just hunkering down for a hurricane, it's all about the hurricane snacks and treats and helps us get by. So we are giving a lot of attention to that evolving over the coming days as we move through this process. Cece is also working hard with her team to identify ways through the Touchdown program that we can bring exercise classes to you, maybe some concerts to you, maybe some fun comedy, department heads or otherwise. Chef Jorge is looking forward to doing a cooking show this weekend. So lots of fun to come. So we encourage you to tune in to 2501 on a routine basis and not only see what's going on in the community, but also enjoy some of the new programming that we're going to be putting out. So I think that's going to be all the updates for today. I'm going to check my notes once again and make sure that you're keeping in touch with your family members and letting them know you're doing okay. We have been sending out the Angie's notes to family members that have requested it. Please, if you have a family member that you would like to include on the list, feel free to call the concierge and let them know, and they'll pass that information on to me. And we will make sure that they are staying informed about all of the happenings at Windsor during this pandemic event that we are all working through at this time. Again, we are moving to having 24-hour-a-day presence in the community by leadership. Cece and Jorge are currently already staying on site. I will be making that move to the community tomorrow morning and joining you on a daily and nightly basis to make sure that I can be available to you should anything continue to evolve. It's a priority that I am here to lead and support Windsor and help be a part of keeping our community safe as we get through this experience together. Finally, written updates will continue on at least Monday and Thursday, but as you've already seen, last Friday we had one today, which is Wednesday. So we're going to continue to do them as needed, but no less than twice a week, as well as these nightly updates featuring yours truly and maybe along the way some guest stars to keep things a little more interesting. So we thank you so much and hope that you feel like we're keeping you informed and we're being transparent with everything. We want you to feel comfortable. We know that this is a difficult time. It's a first for everyone. And please feel free to share suggestions, ask questions, and we'll get through this together. So thank you, everyone, and good night. All right.